Alright, so today we're going to be going over Jamboard and just a little historical background. Jamboard is Google's version of an interactive whiteboard, and it, ViewSonic comes with a whiteboard application, and you can take Google Docs or Google spreadsheets and convert them into whiteboard software. My only issue with that is that whiteboard is kind of like, it's more powerful than Google Jamboard, has more options, just like Microsoft Word has more options than a Google Doc. But my only issue is that we had Promethean boards for the last 9 years, and now we switch to this program. 9 years from now, we're going to switch to something else. Google, Microsoft, they're going to be around, Apple. So, and then that'd be one more file type that I have to keep and bounce back between the different things. And I'm already pretty established in Google. So my argument with using Jamboard is that we already use Google, so it's convenient, and it's not going to be, the kids don't have to have another app, the students don't have another app on their Chromebook because it's already there for them. So, introduction on Jamboard, puppies and nature scenes are supposed to be relaxing. That's why I chose that. There is debate out there. Is Jamboard just a glorified version of Google Sheets? And initially I would say, yeah. The thing about what makes Jamboard a little different, Google Presentations is more of a your teacher presenting to the student, unless you modify them, where Jamboard is more of a student interactive platform. First off, I'm going to go over just your basic settings here. You can have up to 20 different, we can call them jams or slides, on any particular Jamboard. You can access that by just clicking here up at the top. You can either go through the arrows and move, or you can go through here. You can hit plus. You can drag the different slides back and forth, move them around. All of that's on that. Your options, it's like any other basic whiteboard type system. You have your pen, and you can pick out you're limited on colors, but you have highlighter, pen, marker, and paintbrush. You have your eraser. You have your select cursor. You can enter in sticky notes, and this is something that I kind of like here. A lot of options, different things you can do with this. Pick your colors, paste your sticky note. There is one thing I like is there is a limit on characters, only let you go so far. So you can hey, explain this to me in X amount of sentences, words. Limits how much the students can put on there, but you have your sticky notes, your various colors. You have your images. I already have mine set to Google Drive here. But you can go and, you can upload images from your computer. You can upload images by URL if you do a Google Image. Have Google Image there. You can do a Google Image search within it, just like you can Google Docs and Google Presentations now. There's a Google Photos, or you could do just your photos you have in Google Drive. Insert them. Then you also have your shapes. And again, it's your basic shapes here: circle, square, triangle, diamond, arrow. Then you have text box, where you enter in text. Is just like any of the other PowerPoint, Microsoft or Google programs. And then you also have laser pointer, which is kind of cool. It disappears, so you can quickly go look at the girl and her dog. It's a neat feature. I envision you using that on maps or maybe other images that you insert. Other options you can do, again, if you want to clear a frame, there's just a quick erase. Background options. You have polka dots, like a grid. You have, this would be convenient for maybe writing teachers, more so grade school, but you have your paper option with the lines. For math teachers, you have, and this is where I think a lot of Jamboard will be really convenient for math teachers. You have your graphing paper. You have white graphing paper. You have gray graphing paper. You also, along with that, you have your blue board. You have your traditional whiteboard. And then I will explain the insert a background in a little bit. But interesting things with this, I just want to bring up, you know, if you're a math teacher, how you go around your room and you're filling up your entire board space and you're walking around. And by the end of class, everything's full, and then you have to go and erase it again. You're like, I don't want to erase that, I have to use it for next hour. The neat thing about this is as you go and you do your equations and you're demonstrating to the students how to do that math problem. I have to use simple math, I'm a history teacher for a reason. You can, once you fill up one whiteboard, you can easily go up and add more whiteboards. And what I find interesting about this is how many times do students sit there like, now how did Mr. Brush do that assignment? Once you're done with all this, you can easily go and you could share it to your students if you wanted to by adding their emails. But an even better option would be, because it's Google and we're a Google school, so we're already linked into that, you can easily go into your assignments. You can create an assignment. I don't know why I create an assignment there, but I could go and say I wanted to create a material for the day, the math lesson. I could go and add that from my Google Drive, and Jamboard pops up just like all your other Google documents, presentations. I could share it with my students, and it would give me the option to, do I want them to be able to write on it? Do I want them just to be able to view it? Give them a month. And now they have the math lesson on the board from what we covered during the day. It could also help out your students that missed it. Again, it's basically your entire classroom where you walk around your boards and have all your math there, but it's on screen. You can share that with them. It would also be an option to have students do the equations. They can do it from their seat and mark it up there. They can come up here and do it. The next thing I want to show you, and this is kind of the evolution, this assignment I was thinking the other day when I was putting together just the evolution of my classroom and how I taught 14 years ago. 14 years ago when I first started out, you know, some assignment like this would have been, I would have projected my Venn diagram on the board, and I had students take the paper, what stuff was written on it, and then tape it to the different assignments. This is a lesson over federalism, and they have to go, and this is, they would go and they tape, okay, who can borrow money? States, or the federal government. Is it a express implied power in the Constitution? Is it a concurrent power that both states and federal governments have, or is it a reserve power? Well, borrow money is a concurrent power. So it's funny how it started off with being a projection on the board, and I had kids take their piece of paper and tape them where they're supposed to be, to using a Google PowerPoint or Google presentation, having them do it there. And this is where that debate comes in. Is Jamboard much different than a Google presentation? Presentations are presenting. You can edit them like I have in the past to do this. But that's the presentation that I used to use, and then this is the Jamboard that I just recently created. Basically works the same. One thing I will say is that I've noticed that there is more space here, where on the Google presentation I had to make the space and put them off the side. So I would say it is more user-friendly as far as that goes. And this is something that I've used. Different programs will probably use Jamboard in the future, just having kids come up as a class and participate in activities such as this to study for federalism. And then when they're done, I save it and I share it as material for them to go home and study. So that's one option that I was thinking that we could use it for. Another option is timelines. This is a timeline I made during when we were shut down in COVID and everything was what do you call it?
Remote?
Remote, yes. I had the kids do a timeline over the civil rights movement, and I did it on Google presentation. You know, now, if I was to do this, I didn't do this assignment again, and I don't know why I didn't do it this last year, but, you know, you could use sticky notes. You know, what happened in 1948? It'd be Truman desegregated the military. Kid could go and tape that after he did it, and he could fill out the timeline that way. One thing though that I was thinking for future assignments that someone could do is you could go and set up an entire timeline here so that the kids had more space. I could spread this out over several jams, and then make them add pictures and other information too. That'd be a neat idea. which would make it better than using Google presentations like I have in the past. When doing this, I would encourage you to, if you notice here, I can't edit that background, but I can move my documents. Oops, I can move these around. But when putting in a background and having kids fill something out, if you don't want them to be able to move it, you'll need to upload that as a background. So how I've set this up is, now I want you guys to open up a Google Jam, and this is how you're going to do that. You're going to go to your Google Drive. And you're going to hit, new, click on more, and then you're going to create a Jamboard. And what I want you to do on this Jamboard is, I've already set this up, but this was that insert background. You click on that image there. And you can insert an image, you can insert something that you've pre-saved from Google Drive. There are other options out there. People are also going and they're making templates with Google presentations, and then they save the presentation as a JPEG or PNG, and then they download it and then re-upload it to Google Drive. But pick a picture, pick a background. That's where there's a recent one I uploaded here. There it is. And civil rights timeline there, I insert that as my background. And then now a student can mess with that. You can insert images. Convenient things, you want to insert an image, you want people to identify the picture on there, and maybe students to put captions or tags on the image or point things out. That'd be another example. Put the image in the background, and then they could go and use the shapes to, like a circle shape, identify the Washington Monument. They can put the circle over the monument, make it transparent. So there are a lot of neat options there. Other things, insert an image. Let's say, you want to have, there's several ideas for activities, but again, for your image searches, you can do a Google image search and say I wanted to do something over progressive era child labor. Progressive era child labor newsies. So I go and I pick out a picture here, I insert that, and I can do an activity where, do one of those activities where you sit there and have the kids take shapes and, what do you want to know more about? What's something you recognize here? You could turn this into some type of activity that way. It could be a student-led presentation. You could even turn you could turn your Jamboard into an assignment where the kids would have to go and maybe label the different things, maybe on a map and all that, and you'd share it the same way you would a Google Doc or a Google presentation. Other examples, I showed you a Venn diagram, but you could do a, what do you want to know, or a KWL chart, what do you want to know, what do you already know, what do you want to learn. You could have the students fill that out as a worksheet. Will high school kids want to get up and use assignments like this? I wouldn't have thought so, but I know last year seniors did enjoy some of the assignments I did on the board towards the end of the year. I don't know if it was COVID and they just liked getting up, getting around. I did have wipes to wipe off the pins. I was doing it right. But I think kids will get something out of it. Even upperclassmen get something to use. Other examples of things you could do too, you could use it as a exit for your class. So I have shared this with all of you now, and what I want you to do is go through and how likely are you to use Jamboard in your class? And you could either use doesn't matter, just use one of the shapes and go ahead and put that shape where you are and what you think. And it's just another quick example of how you could share this assignment on Google Classroom, and this was a simple one. But use it as an exit ticket.